Reoffending rates by New Zealanders being deported back here from Australia are on the rise, with violent assaults and sex offences among the crimes committed by those coming home. Official figures released to Checkpoint show more than 40% of the nearly 1,700 people deported from Australia since January 2015 have been charged with an offence since returning here. But with the limited support available for deportees, those being sent home say it's totally predictable that they're returning to a life of crime. Nita Blake-Persen reports.
Deportees are continuing to pour back into New Zealand following a change to Section 501 of Australia's Migration Act, which means all non-citizens who fail a character test are sent home. Those people are often referred to as 501s, and of the nearly 1,700 who have been sent home since the start of 2015, nearly one-third have been convicted of crimes in New Zealand. That's up from 25% in 2017 and 21% at the end of 2016. Anthony Miller had been living in Australia for 14 years when he was jailed on drug charges in 2013. He was kicked out of his adopted home in 2016 and says it's been a huge struggle.
Mate, it was terrible. The feeling when you walk off the plane is not good. You feel free, but you're not. There's no one here, and it's not a good feeling at all. Like if you're doing 2 prison sentences, basically. Like you're doing, I've already done one, and then I got pretty much life sentence again coming here.
Miller says he arrived in Auckland and was given $700 and a week's accommodation on Queen Street.
When your week's up, what do you think's gonna? If you're in a bad headspace, what do you think's gonna? You put a man in a cage. What do you think's gonna happen to him? You're gonna react. So that's probably why the crime has gone up, because these guys are scared and don't know where to live, or they've got nowhere to live, or got no one.
Miller says he knows plenty of 501s who have committed crimes since they got back. Figures released to Checkpoint under the Official Information Act show that 900 have been charged with violence, 1,300 with dishonesty charges. There have been nearly 1,000 traffic charges, 650 drugs charges and 63 sexual charges. Jail sentences have been handed down to 77 people. Support for returning 501 deportees is provided by the not-for-profit groups PARS and the Salvation Army. Glenn Buckner is the Salvation Army's National Operations Manager for Reintegration. He says he's surprised at how high the reoffending rates of 501s are.
I don't believe any of our 501s are coming over here with the attitude that they're going to reoffend in New Zealand, because some of them have been living quite successful lives in the community over in Australia without getting into trouble. I think, it is just the pressures, and they don't know the resources and the connections that they could be utilising. So some of them are making some choices that are probably unsuitable for themselves and our community.
PARS has worked with more than 500 deportees since 2015. The number of clients more than doubled last year, jumping from 140 to 295. The Police Minister, Stuart Nash, refused to be interviewed for the story, but said in a statement that the recidivism rate is comparable, in some cases lower, to that of offenders released from New Zealand prisons. The Corrections Minister, Kelvin Davis, also refused to be interviewed, despite telling Checkpoint in 2016, when he was an opposition MP, that a lack of support left many 501s vulnerable.
They've got no job, they've got no roof over their head. If they don't get the right sort of social support, then they may have to resort to crime to get by. So these people are in a dire situation, and if it backfires, it's going to be New Zealanders who are going to be the victims of their crimes.
More than 200 more 501 deportees are expected to arrive back in New Zealand before the end of the year. For Checkpoint, Nita Blake-Persen, TNA.